Anybody who can call on the name of the Lord shall be saved. So, but you can, other than calling on him, you have to follow him. It's not a lip service, it's a life service. It's obeying his Sabbath, it's following his commandments, it's showing him by your fruits that you love him and you're following him and you believe on him. And so it's a lifestyle, it's not just lip service. Religion in the past 2,000 years has 90% been of lip service, and that's it. It's lip service. I go to church every Sunday, I say the 30-second salvation prayer, I'm saved, and then during the week you just do your own little thing. And not once in your entire life did you celebrate the Sabbath because you met church on Sunday every day instead of Saturday. Saturday's the Sabbath, not Sunday. Satan is so good, and his deceptions are good. That's what the Bible warns about, folks. Second question, do the orgone pucks' energy output grow stronger over time, or start up slow and build up to max output? They can do either way. I've heard of people putting them in, like I put mine in my yard, and within 3 or 4 days started noticing a difference in the atmosphere above my house. I've heard from people who put them in their yard that day and noticed an immediate effect. And so I've always felt that it was something that the Lord was going to keep dormant, and then boom, turn those light switch on, and boom, this orgone everywhere, all over the earth, it would just max out to exactly the power frequency he wants it at. And so, I don't know. There's a lot to orgone we haven't seen yet. I know that. And the things we have seen that this orgone will do, that the Lord has led us to, as a defense weapon in these last days against high-tech weapons, against chemtrails, against demonic entities. I hear from so many people that will put orgone in their homes for the first time. It happened to me, too. And the demons rage. They hate it. They'll yell, they'll scream, they'll walk out of your house, and you don't see them again. They will react. You will see a reaction, and probably 90% of the homes that orgone is put into, you'll see a visible reaction of some kind or other, because they hate it. They can't breathe around it. It burns them. It's like a constant energy, a feeling of the Holy Spirit in your house. It's like just energy from the Lord Himself, and so they hate it. They can't stand it. And so, yeah, a lot of people notice effects right away, and then it just kind of goes away. And then you never get hear these or see these types of reactions again from them. Gonna go back. More questions. Do you think the shootings today was a Gov operation to further the agenda of disarming the U.S. citizens? Yeah, and I just went through that a couple minutes ago. It's exactly what I think it was. Why do you think Bush has secretly activated all National Guard units with orders to Iraq? Why is he removing all our soldiers from our soil? I was talked about this back in 2003, warning before the soldiers even left America that every bit of our army would be destroyed and annihilated in Iraq. And it's taken years, a couple years. It wasn't an over-the-night thing. But that is their intent, folks, is to deplete our entire army over there. You put all the fighting men, women and men of age. I don't trust the women anymore because they're getting kind of tough, so let's include the women too. Send them all overseas and kill them off, because when you're planning to take over the world and conquer the world, these aliens that are running all of these governments, they want to eliminate as much fighting as possible. And so what they're going to do is get rid of your young people, kill them off in wars. And I saw this in the codes back in 2003 that our army would be annihilated in Baghdad. And so that's exactly what's going to happen. There's too many still these young men and women of fighting age hanging around. Let's call a draft. Let's get all the units out as possible. Let's get them out of the United States so that we can then have a disaster here. And our armed forces are so tied up overseas that the only ones that can step in immediately and help is the UN. Boom, here comes the Germans and Chinese. Do you get where it's going, folks? When you stop thinking Bush really cares about this country, you'll start to see things openly and with clearer eyes. Because his biggest goal is to destroy America, to take it down through destructions, famines, and plagues. So out of the ashes of America, the New World Order can rise. Okay? And so that's their plan, is to destroy America. And once, enough people, and everybody knows this on the internet, I just can't understand why somebody doesn't have these losers on trial for treason. When you look at the definition of treason, and they took oaths of holding up the Constitution, and they haven't done that. Hello? Why aren't our government officials in court for treason? Instead, they're going to be coming after Christians for organ pucks. That's exactly what's going to happen. You just have to shake your head and just prepare, because as bad as it gets, it's going to get much worse, and there's nothing that any one of us do that's going to do anything about it, because so many people already know, and people are too helpless to do anything about it. Well, China and Russia attacked the U.S. without warning. I don't think they have to warn at all. We're going to invite them right in. I mean, I know that the Elf God, has been preparing people for these invasions. I don't think they need to invade. They'll just walk right in. We're going to invite them here. Our government will blow up a few cities. We'll declare martial law. Oh, UN, come help us. Our soldiers are overseas. And they'll walk right in, because these Chinese and Russians have been moving in their equipment since 1991. That's, 15 years now? Look in Texas. There's whole yardfuls of UN vans, UN vehicles. We've got Chinese vehicles coming in, German, Russian. There's been pictures on the internet of German anti-missile tank, whatever's coming in. I mean, they're just walking in, folks. We're not going to, if they did attack, it would be for aesthetics only, for television drama, because they've been pulling in their equipment for years. For years. These Costco containers on trains have been hauling Chinese weapons for years. And then when people start to get on that, then they'll come up with something else for Costco. Oh, we're a food chain now. We're a bulk food chain. Or we're high chairs, and they use that as a pretense anyway to just haul in all their weapons. This has been very well planned out, folks. Very well. Your destruction has been methodically planned out for years. So nothing happens by chance. Nothing's just going to happen overnight. And nothing's going to happen that the governments aren't in agreement on. They're all in secret agreement over this stuff. Do you think the chemtrails have finally killed the bees? I don't know if the chemtrails, well, they could have. I can't say they can't. I think most of these things are pretty much hidden in hives, and I don't know, they could have. Something's killing the bees. Definitely, something's killing the bees. Why does the national ID cover the U.S., Mexico, and Canada? Well, it's, because they want a North American Union. They want a North American Union without borders. And so if you think Bush is going to clamp down and enforce any law in our books on immigration, you're crazy. Why hasn't he been held accountable for that? Why hasn't he been held accountable for not enforcing what the Constitution and the laws of our country already state? Nobody holds this guy for accountability for anything. I just started listening to your show and not sure what the topic of discussion is. We just kind of go with anything in this show. Could you please simplify what shape the neodymium magnets should be so that they focus on the part of your body more effectively in deactivating the chips in our bodies? Or does it not matter at all, the size or shapes? You know what? When you get these neodymium magnets, I'm trying to think, don't let them touch together. You'll never get them apart. It'll be a war. I bought like 10 at once one time. And actually, they're round. I got the round ones. If you go to mythandlinks.com, they have neodymium magnets, and they lift 10 pounds of steel. It's one little magnet, and they cost 70 cents a piece. Reverend Ted runs that site over there, and it's a pagan site, yeah, but what, Reverend Ted's a great guy. He's got magnets. That's all that matters. Get the magnets. Don't read the website. Just get the magnets, because they will deactivate your chip implants. And how do you know you got chip implants? If you hear voices in your head, if you hear people talking, you're not saying, you're not crazy. You're perfectly sane, and you hear like military people, like a bass, music, rock music. You hear a ringing. You just hear things at night, especially when you lay down to go to bed. And all of a sudden it sounds like you're in the middle of a concert somewhere. Or you're being included in somebody else's conversation somewhere. And most likely you've got a chip implant. And so